Hope you're all still awake. Late Night Mega here, and I did do a little bit of exploring around here. I didn't go too far ahead to where I'd trigger a cutscene or anything, but just looking for other treasures and, well, just basically in the area behind us, so I didn't, waste a bunch of time doing that on camera here because, well, that would be a waste of time. But there is another treasure to grab. At least one other treasure to grab. It's over this way. You can see the stairs here. That should be your big hint. Yeah, a lot of the treasures in this game just involve you... Oh, Introduction to Albed. Okay, this talks about the Albed primers, so there's going to be, well, 26 Albed primers all around the world. You can use this sphere here if you have a save file that already has all of the Albed primers, then you can import them, and then you can understand all the Albed language in the game from the beginning of the game. It seems like that would be, useful to know from the get-go, but you can't do that until after you've already basically gone through the entire game. That's just very frustrating design for me. I mean, I'd be okay with, like, Titus not understanding their speech, but us as the player not being able to understand it it's just frustrating. That's all there is to it. And then have to pick up all these mini things throughout the game, which I will be using a guide for. That'll be one of 3 major things that I'll be using a guide for, which again is another strike I have against this game, because if you guys know me, I like to be able to just pick up and play RPGs. I don't want to worry about alternate endings. I don't want to worry about tons of good missable items and things that I want to collect, and or getting stumped somewhere and having to look up the solution to a puzzle or whatever. That's just anything that stops me from playing the game and makes me go look up information online, I tend to not like. I want to play the game. So yeah, if I do end up missing some treasures and whatnot, and, falling into the water over a very unstable bridge, yeah, that's just stuff that's gonna happen in this Let's Play. I've never gone for, or intended to go for, 100% completion in these sorts of games, and I'm certainly not going to do the post-game in this. I'll talk more about the post-game a bit later. But for right now, yeah, we have cute little flying fish, jumping fish. Those guys look like flying fish from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster Flying Fish. And this is our normal random enemy fight music. I like it. In fact, I like it better than the boss battle music in this game, which I don't know how I feel about that. I do think this has one of the stronger random battle themes, which is good because we're going to be hearing it a lot. But the boss theme, well, we're going to hear the boss theme. Actually, we're going to hear the boss theme right about here. Yeah, that's a boss. And this is the boss theme. That was kind of a gruesome shot there. They just, showed the fish's blood spewing everywhere. You don't normally get a lot of that type of violence and gore out of Final Fantasy. Anyways, this is the boss fight music. I mean, it kind of feels like boss fight music. My issue with it is it's very slow and it's not very catchy. I like the boss music to be catchy and fast paced, and this is not really doing it for me. It's not very memorable for that reason. So when I think of fun boss fight musics in Final Fantasy games, I think of Final Fantasy IV, even though Final Fantasy IV's is not my favorite. Final Fantasy V's is actually probably my favorite. 6 has good boss fight music. 7, 8, 9 is serviceable, but it's a little bit above 10s in my opinion. And Final Fantasy 3, I like Final Fantasy 3's boss fight music. And the remakes of the first Final Fantasy boss fight music. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of options. And of course, Final Fantasy 12 has like 7 different boss themes, which is way too much and not consistent. But if you watch my Let's Play of that, you'll know the 2 boss themes that I really enjoy in that game. And I wish it was just those themes used more. Oh, by the way, we're escaping this thing here. Yeah, so that's not a boss that we're actually going to beat. We just battle him until the cutscene triggers, and then the cutscene just does everything else for us. This was a PS2 game, fairly early PS2 game if I do recall. So
I had made it out of the frying pan.
Like, there's not
and
quick
into the
time events
freezer.
or anything in these cutscenes. You just watch the cutscenes.
I thought
I'm
I was
okay
going
with
to die
that.
in this place.
Oh, you and your dying and needing food and... But now we're in this temple, this broken down, beat up old temple. I do feel that this music is pretty fitting for this area. Oh, come on, you're a JRPG character. Since when do you get...
Fire.
Since when do you get cold? Since when do you need fire? Cast fire. Oh, you're not a black mage. Okay, so our goal is to, well, make a campfire here. One of our first major things to do in this game is to make a campfire. I find that odd as well. I'm not fully sure what purpose this serves other than to just kind of show you or give you a little tutorial about how, you know, different objects in your environment can interact with each other, I guess is the purpose. Other than that, I'm really not sure of the games, from a game design perspective, why we were dropped off here and why we didn't just go to, well, the next place that we're going to see. As I said, I think this is just a way for the game to introduce more tutorials and just kind of stretch out some of the tutorials a bit. We're going to be in tutorial mode for quite a while, though. But there are some secret treasures around this place, like this X potion. Yeah, so that's why you'll see me running around like the edges of places and whatnot. Even if it's not marked on the map, there are secret paths on the map that, well, sometimes don't appear on the map, so I guess they wouldn't be on the map. But we need 2 things to make fire here. So we got the flint. Now we just need some straw or something to burn, which I don't know why we couldn't just grab the stuff that's, you know, out in the main room here, because to me it looks like there's like sticks and stuff, sticks and brush there in those jars. Why can't we grab that? I don't know. But what we have to do is come up this way. I thought there was a treasure somewhere on the steps, but I guess not. But yeah, we have to grab this specific withered bouquet. No other bouquets will do. Again, don't ask me why. It's weird. Now, if we come over here, there's got to be a treasure over here, because there's really no other reason for us to need to be here. And lo and behold, there is. It's a high potion. Potions are probably going to get more use from me out of this game than most other Final Fantasies. Just because we're going to go through periods, well, without a white mage for a while. And if we go down, you go down a little bit further, it's easier to find that treasure on your way back down. But yeah, you can see there's like a hidden camera angle there if you go down far enough, and it gets you that treasure. Okay, we've got our fire. You're still hungry, aren't you? Or I should say he is hungry. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I would not be able to fall asleep.
I need food.
Yeah, you need food. You sound like a whiny teenager there. I need food. I'm cold. I'm tired. This isn't what a Final Fantasy game is about. Final Fantasy characters shouldn't need any of those things.
You came to say that?
Yeah, that's kind of rude,
It's
Orin.
been 10 years. I thought you'd be crying.
Who, me?
You cried.
Oh my gosh, not that kid again. Okay, so we have sissy teenage boy who's a star blitzball player as our main character. He cries, he's hungry, and he's cold. I gotta admit, this is not a good look for a main character of a Final Fantasy game. Not a big fan of the way Titus has been introduced to us. Especially since, like, you know, all these people keep telling him he's this big crybaby, but you don't see him cry. So much for getting more wood. Well, maybe we'll warm up fighting this guy. Who's a boss? And not much we can do besides attack it, so we'll do that. Now, basic potions in this game, I believe they recover 200 HP. I'm not going to use it till I'm really low. Yeah, recovers 200. High potions recover 1,000, and X potion recovers everything. I don't really want to use anything bigger. You can see we're just faster enough compared to this boss that occasionally we get double turns. Also, depending on what action or item you select to use, can increase your basically recovery time until you get your next turn. Oh, hey, backup has arrived. I think. But what is with that outfit? This is a PG channel. It's some sort of skin-tight suit, but not an appropriate one. Oh, so you're on our side. Awesome.
You on my side? Cool.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Titus. Alright, using grenades. This is question mark girl. Yes, this is a girl. So they want us to... Well, this is basically a tutorial for question mark girl on how to use and steal items. Grenades do quite a bit of damage. That's very nice. So we can use special, we can use steal. Now the way the stealing mechanics work in this game is a lot different. Like, you have a super high chance of stealing your first time. In fact, is it 100% chance? But after, like, every subsequent steal, your chance of stealing goes down. So you can, like, in theory, steal 100 times from an enemy and succeed 100 times. The chances of doing that are very low. I think the mechanics work like after the first time you have a 75% chance of stealing on your second attempt. It only counts successful steals, so if you steal and you don't get it, you'll still have like the same chance you had before at stealing. So after 2 steals, I think you go down to 50%. I didn't mean to attack with Mystery Earl there. Well, yeah, let's use another grenade. And that takes care of the boss. Now, another thing you might have noticed, when you do enough damage to an enemy to finish it off, but you do like an absurd amount of damage, you get what's called an overkill, and you get more or better items in your spoils from doing that. And there's certain strategies that you could use to overkill like all the bosses and that, because there's certain damage amounts you need to hit at one time.
That was close.
But like I said, I'm not going to worry about that. If we overkill a boss, that's great. If we don't, oh well. What are you guys doing? I'm trying to commentate. This is that Albed language. Apparently they think I'm a fiend. They gave us that word. And apparently the fancy-dressed one is the commanding officer.
Kuno.
Oh, no Kuno. I don't know what that means. But the sucker punched us pretty dang hard. But she couldn't punch the boss very hard. Come on, Titus, that should have only done like 50 damage to you. Should be fine. And this is the part where I'm wondering why the game didn't just start us off here after being sucked up by Sin. Like I said, other than, you know, the tutorial on interacting with the environment and the grenade tutorial and steel tutorial, I don't really know the purpose of that. Oh, come on.
Hey, that hurts.
I'll state the obvious again.
Whoa.
You still hungry?
Heinous!
Right, whatever.
Tui Hood Kabeg?
I'm not good at charades. But I think he wanted me to go diving
I
and
said I don't understand.
do something. You can't blame him for not knowing your
You can
language.
stay if you make yourself useful.
You understand me?
Oh, but you understand language. You must be a main character.
All right, I'll work.
Yeah, it's not like we got much other choice. Okay, now we have control of Titus again, and there's our first Albed primer right over there. You can see them. Some of them are very well hidden and very hard to see in the cluster of, well, busyness that can happen on the screen. Oh, we can
What's this?
check this out.
Some kind of crane?
Yeah, it's a crane. How about that? A mystical crane of mystical power. Oh, they want us to work.
All right. You don't have to shout.
And here's, well, yet another save point. So we'll go ahead and drop another save. This game kind of throws a bunch of save points at you, and save points also fully restore all your character's HP and MP. So yeah, there's no like ins in this game. Now one of these guys, if you talk to him, you might have to talk to him a couple times, or just once. He'll give you 3 potions. Now there is a thing you can do where after you talk to Mystery Girl here, she's going to teach us how to use the sphere grid. Basically, you'll dive in the water. You can reboard the ship and talk to that guy again and get 3 more potions, dive into the water, reboard the ship. And you can keep doing that over and over. I'm not going to do that. So this is the sphere grid. This is what we have instead of a traditional level up system. And my opinion on the sphere grid, it's an interesting concept. I like the concept, but I don't think the execution was fully there. So basically, when we get enough AP, or ability points, yeah, we don't get experience, we get ability points, which basically functions as experience in this game. For those of you familiar with other Final Fantasy games, or RPGs in general. So we get enough ability points, and when we level up, we basically get a move on the sphere grid here. And so you'll move around the sphere grid. However, that's not enough to actually, power up your character. You have to use other spheres that you're going to find, like power spheres, mana spheres, ability spheres, agility spheres, what have you. Don't worry, the game will automatically tell you when you get near a sphere. Like we can activate the node that's adjacent to us. And basically the node will give us strength +1 or defense +1 or HP +200, something like that. Or an ability. We could get an ability here. And so basically that's how you increase your character's stats and abilities. And for the most part, at first I didn't like the sphere grid because it looks really confusing, especially when the tutorial will zoom out here. But don't get overwhelmed. I'll explain what I like about the sphere grid and how I think they could have done things a little bit better, or at least a little bit more to my preferences. There are a bunch of locks on the sphere grid that we're not going to be able to get into. That's the tutorial explaining us about locks right now. And but some of these locks can get you into other players' sections of the sphere grid. Or if you chose expert sphere grid, I don't know exactly what would happen, but you can start off, you choose where to start off or something. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to play the game the traditional way, where everyone is kind of on their own specific set path to their character. Yeah, there's the sphere grid. Looks overwhelming, right? Don't worry about it. Because for the most part, there's not a ton of branching paths that aren't, locked off. And we do have to do this in actuality, because the tutorial was a tutorial. It didn't actually do it for us, so make sure you do that. We get the ability called Cheer.
We found some ancient ruins right beneath us.
It's okay.
It's not active now, but there should still be some power left. We're gonna go down there and activate it. And then we should be able to salvage the big prize.
Yay!
Okay, let's get to work.
Roger.
Yeah, okay. Let's get to work. And here... Okay, so other things about the sphere grid. Yeah, you could return to the ship there by pressing square. You will have to press and hold circle to dive down. I don't think there's any other treasure we can get here. If there is, I'm not going to worry about it. We do have random battles here, finally. We're ambushed. That's rude. We want to steal from these piranha. How piranha have grenades that we can steal? Don't ask. It's just a thing that can happen. Let's try stealing again. Yeah, we got it twice in a row. And there goes the piranha. So yeah, I just want to kind of stock up grenades with stealing here. You can see we don't get a lot of AP from that. We get a speed sphere. So that's kind of nice. We're going to need some of those. Different enemies will drop different spheres for you to use on the sphere grid. So yes, every character will kind of have their own sphere grid. I talked about that, the locks. One thing that's kind of difficult is, say you get stuck on a boss or something, it's not like other RPGs where you can go look up a guide and say, okay, I'm stuck on this boss, and people are like, okay, we recommend that you're level 38 at least for this boss. Oh, well, I'm only level 33. No wonder why I'm struggling. With the sphere grid, it's kind of hard to do that because you don't really keep a level up in the sense. As you, quote, level up, you get steps on the sphere grid, but as you move around on the sphere grid, you're using up those steps and returning your step counter to 0. Which, that makes sense, but it makes it kind of hard to determine, whereabouts you should be on the sphere grid compared to where you are in the game. There's a save point here. Another save point. I just had one on the ship. I don't know why I'm trying to bother with that. Yeah, I was having a hard time actually interacting with that. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother saving again. We've hardly done anything. And typical teenager, if it doesn't work, just punch it. Oh, it has a blue screen of death. Yeah, definitely punch that. But somehow that makes it work. I don't get it. Some of the smaller details it's best not to question, because there'll be plenty of bigger details to complain about. Oh, I can return to the ship from right here? Why would I do that? There's absolutely no reason to do that. I'm actually just looking for treasures. Because treasures are what I want to find. You're a piranha. Actually, you're a bunch of piranha. Although the piranha are kind of in groups of 3. Although I will get confused soon enough, because we'll find some fish that are in, like, single groups. And then we'll find fish that are in single groups and multiples at the same time. I'm really confused about how many different enemies we actually have, but then you can just refer to the turn order on the right to help you out. So yeah, we're gonna steal. Probably stole in a bad order. But that's okay. Maybe we could use a grenade, probably overkill the thing, but I'm not too concerned about it. This game will give you enough of these spheres to use generally. I do remember struggling a bit for ability spheres, and in certain parts of the game struggling for certain types of spheres. But we'll deal with that as we go along.